Hello there, Hidden Hermit. And look, the Three of Wands is manifested in front of me. So I think it's probably a good time to discuss that. Or, you know, show you some pictures. So, the Three of Wands is associated with Aries. And as we know, Aries is a cardinal fire sign. And Aries is represented by the Emperor. And Mars appears in Aries at this point. And Mars is associated with the Tower. Now this is the second decan of the astrological first three decans in Aries. And the second decan, we have the Sun appearing, which is really good news for Aries, because the Sun is exalted in Aries, which makes for, well, a good pairing, if you like. It's awesome. So we'll talk about the Sun a little bit more and why we get into the images that we're going to be looking at. But first, let's look at the Waite-Smith image. Now, a lot of people say, well, you know, there's the Three of Wands. What's so different between the two? You've both got two guys. They're looking over yonder. The colour schemes are the same. And I'll tell you what I think the difference is. First of all, in the Two of Wands, the idea was made. It was all about planning and trying to exert that will. Here, he's changed geography. He's not in his tower. He's now on a hill looking out across a river, and you can see three ships, and they're all going in the same direction. There is a lot of debate whether or not they're coming back or they're going. I like to think that they're going. He's made his plans, he's put his plans into action, and he's sent them on his way. Now, some of the keywords associated with the Three of Wands, things like travel, action, established strength, growth, dreams coming true, your will being manifested, enterprise, effort, trade, discovery, commerce, focused effort, action, success. I can't remember where it was from, but quirkiness is in there, which is interesting. Beginnings, cooperation and partnerships, studies, expansion, growth. What else is there? Perfection on efforts. Yeah, and if you're a reversal type of person, or if you're like me, ill-dignified, then some of the keywords are suspension or end of troubles, disappointment, toil, delays, obstacles, small gains with little meaning, wasting efforts, mistakes, negligence, unrewarded work, bad advice, overconfidence, pride, and creative block. However, as I have already stated, this is the Sun and in Aries. So we're getting a general vibe of good things. The Sun brings abundance, it brings strength, it brings all things good, it brings growth. I mean, this is the Sun card, and you can see this incredibly happy child on that beautiful white horse, and sunflowers, and you know, who doesn't love a big towering sunflower? So my gut instinct is that this card is generally going to be a good thing. If it comes up in a reading, if it comes up in a spread, it's going to have a lot of bad things going on around it for it to be ill-dignified, if you like. So, and I will probably mention the Sun. Also, the Sun is associated with Leo, and Leo and Aries do get on very well. The cardinal and the fixed sign of the fire elements, if you like, they get on pretty well. So, yes. So, as usual, I will be going through my decks and showing you what the what is, and it will follow the same format. I'll show you all the images similar to the Waite-Smith. I'll show you the beautiful decks, the dark decks, the hermetic decks, and the curveballs. Before I forget, however, this is the third decan, which is ruled by the court card of the Queen of Wands. She is, again, very, very fiery. She's almost like an empress type figure, as illustrated by the cute little black kitty there. She is brought forth spring. She rules the last decan in Pisces, which is ruled by the Ten of Cups. So she's the person who has birthed the spring for us. It's all her fault, and we are grateful for it. Interestingly, the Queen of Wands here has also got a sunflower. Good for her. So yeah, I'm glad I got that out of the way, because I keep forgetting the court cards in these decan videos. So yeah, Queen of Wands. We love the Queen of Wands. What can I say about the Queen of Wands, actually? She is kind and generous, but she gets really fierce if she's faced with opposition. She's incredibly protective. She's almost an archetypal mother, which is why I sometimes get her and the Empress confused, to be perfectly honest, because their vibes are very, very similar. But yeah, I love the Queen of Wands. Okay, cracking on. So we're looking at the decks that have similar imagery to the Waite-Smith. First, let's start with the Witch's Tarot. It's almost identical. You've got just the two ships going out there. You've got very, very flowery ones. He's right on the edge. He needs to be careful, I think, because it looks kind of windy with his billowing cloak. But yeah, almost identical. Let's look at the Game of Thrones tarot. Here you have Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, called Spears in the Game of Thrones tarot. He's looking out. He's even got the same red cloak. However, he's sent out quite a few more ships. He's not taking any chances, is he? He wants his will. He wants his ideas to be manifest. So he's sending half of Westeros to do his bidding. Good for him. So let's move on to the dreaming decks. So this is the Mythic Dreamer, the deck that I don't get on with very well. Again, they've thrown the moon in. Why have they thrown the moon in? You've got definitely a female figure here, and I've got nothing against female figures. She's dressed all in white to suggest purity, I would imagine. There's no ships. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a closer look. So maybe she's sending out all those birds. I do not know. But again, the Mystic Dreamer has thrown the moon image in, and yet we've still got, I don't know, is that a sun? Is that a sun and a moon? I don't like this deck that much. I don't get it. But there you go. The imagery, again, is very, very similar. 3 wands, you're looking out. You've sent your will out into the world. Maybe she's waiting for it to come back, because the 3 is also about manifestation. It's about those things sort of coming true, if you like. Dreams coming true. So maybe she's just expecting for it to come back. Maybe she's anxiously waiting growth. I don't know. Which is again another vibe from a deck we'll see in a moment. Here we have the Dreaming Way Tarot. I'll stop getting them confused one day. Yep. It's very, very similar. Again, there's no water, there's no boats. You've got these. All of these images do have wands planted in the ground. I think that's probably significant. They were planted in the 2, and now they're growing. I think. Yeah. I don't know what the meaning of the rainbow is, but who doesn't like a rainbow? It's a nice image. I do like the art in the Dreaming Way Tarot. It's very ethereal. I like it. Okay, so now let's go on to the Cosmic Tarot. I do like this card. This is amazing. So this woman here she's between her 3 wands. There's the sun, very, very prominent. It's nice to see the sun there. And it's almost as if she's planted those lotus grass and she's dancing to them. It's like, yeah, they're growing. Everything's going well. This is a really cool image. The Cosmic Tarot is a fascinating deck in some of its ethereal imagery. I was just thinking, is that a ship? But no, that's all land. We like it. Let's look at the After Tarot. The After Tarot, of course, the imagery is going to be almost identical with... It's the next moment. So the After Tarot suggests that in this image he's got a falcon just sitting on his arm, and now he's sent it off. Cracking. I think I've mentioned this before, but the After Tarot, not only is it a fun deck, but also a meaningful deck, but the book that comes with it it's amazing. It's amazing. I highly recommend that if you get the After Tarot, get the version that comes with the book, because it's incredibly well thought out. I'm sure I've said that before. Just on a wee tangent, this is the Mythic Tarot, the second edition of the Mythic Tarot. Now, this one's interesting because the guy in this image, and I will be honest, I'm not sure what myth this comes from, but the guy is like the one booted guy He's like, hey, give me my crown. So this guy, his plans, his will is already manifested, and he's receiving it already. Good for him. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's talk about the Hermetic Tarot. The Hermetic Tarot decks, as usual. I'll put the Night Sun down, readjust myself because my leg's going numb. And this is where we talk about the Kabbalah. Again, these images are always going to be very, very similar. So let's leave Tot actually. The magical Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn title, the full title of this card is the Lord of the Established Strength. And here in the Hermetic Tarot we see the Sun in Aries, and you have an image of the Sun up there. You've also got the wands with the lotus flowers and Sun. Lotus flowers is a very popular image, reoccurring in a lot of tarot decks, and I believe it's to suggest growth and purity. Again, you got a ram's head down here, Aries and the Sun, just to remind us, the Lord of Established Strength, just to remind you. The Golden Dawn Tarot, it just says Established Strength. Again, you've got this nice red palette going on to suggest fire, Sun in Aries. The Kabbalah Association, or the Kabbalah instruction, if you like, is Binar in Absolute, the establishment of primeval energy, which basically means the will has produced manifestation. So yeah, and I do like the title of Established Strength. We're going back to that image of the Sun. I've lost my Sun card. I've thrown it in the pile. I have a ridiculous pile of cards over here. The Sun has gone. The Sun has gone down. No, it hasn't. This is the Three of Wands. My goodness. Here's the Tot deck. Now, the Tot deck's interesting because Crowley named it Virtue. Again, we're going to that. Right, I'm gonna find the Sun. You watch. Here's the pile. Just because I like looking at the Sun. So yeah, as previously mentioned, the Sun is also the card associated with Leo, and Leo is also known for its strength. So Crowley really did like to give us the idea of strength, and honest strength, established strength, is virtuous. So it's given us a really pure vibe for the Three of Wands. Again, you got this really striking, fiery orange image here. And I like the idea of virtue. It gives you the impression that this guy out here is his will, his ideas, they're good, they're pure. If it was reversed, would that make it impure? I don't know. It's an interesting question. Here's the Night Sun. Now, the Night Sun is a bit of a mystery to me. It's a cracking card, of course, because it is the Night Sun. You've got these growing plants. There's four of them. I don't know why there's four of them. You've got your three wands. But the weird thing about this card is, now I'm convinced that is a mouth. And I don't know why. I don't know why. If Mr. Lestrade is watching, maybe you can drop me a comment and say, oh yeah, you know, obviously it means this. But it's a bit of a mystery. Fortunately, the vibe of the card, you get this sort of ray effect. So you do get the idea of the sun, and you've got this growth coming in here. So the vibe of the card is not lost on me. I just don't know what this mouth is about. If you've got any ideas, please leave a comment. I would love that. It would be awesome. Okay, let's move on to the beautiful decks. Let's start with Shadowscapes. Now, in the Shadowscapes book, it tells you a little story. If you get the deck that comes with the big fat book, which is a fun read, because it does read like quite a mystical work of fiction, I think. And the story behind this card is, this person has got to the end of this unbuilt bridge, and she's found the wands of the people that have been there previously, and she's looking out, and the story goes that she feels her will is strong, so she just takes a step and the bridge builds itself for her, which is charming, really. It's charming. Again, there is another cat. The Shadowscapes loves cats. Let me just see if I can get that into focus. No, you're just going to have to squint. Take my word for it, there's a cat there. But again, you've got that. She's looking out. In fact, let me have a closer look. I was thinking maybe there were boats, but no, they're all rocks. But yeah, she's looking out. She's Oh, and yeah, you got the sun there. The sun is very prominent there, which is nice. Whether or not that was intentional, I do not know. But yeah, cracking card. The Line Strider. Now the Line Strider here is cracking. I love it. Brilliant. You got these two stags, and you get this idea of companionship again. It was previously alluded to in the After Tarot in the Two of Wands, but I do like that one of the ideas behind the Three of Wands is, you know, sometimes you do need help, or sometimes you do need support. And I kind of get that vibe here. You've still got the individual looking out with the three planted wands, but he's got a companion here. And that plays into the Four of Wands, and you're going to have to click on that video to find out. But yeah, Line Strider, brilliant. Here is the Wild Unknown. Now the Wild Unknown, again, it's a deck that focuses on you internally. However, you do get this image of quite a solid triangle. So there is, again, you're getting a vibe of strength. I really like this. I really like this. It does require meditation. It does test your understanding of your tarot card associations, if you like. And I believe in the book it tells you, it says something along the lines of, you formed your values and morals, and now you're envisioning the future, which I quite like. But yeah, it's a solid thing here. Good old. And here's the Fountain. Now the Fountain's a fascinating image, and again the colour palette doesn't bode well to this light. I can't really know. So you've got a guy here, and he's pulling on some rope, and coming from the rope are the three sort of wand images. And again, you get that idea of strength, established strength. He seems to be doing the job, is the point. He's pulling on his rope. The wands have manifested, and he's doing a good job. Very, very interesting. Another thing that's interesting, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. Let me see if I've got I believe one of the people who formed the Fountain Tarot, somebody called Corrine Kenner, I believe. I'm just standing up and rummaging around in my decks. Here's my Fountain Tarot box. Nadine, my Fountain Tarot, lives in her own wooden box. So I'm just looking for the book here. I'm not looking... No, I'm completely wrong. How embarrassing. There is a deck that this woman, Corrine Kenner, helped build, and she also wrote a book about tarot and astrology, which was amazing, which was absolutely amazing. But I'm going to have to dig out that deck, and obviously these videos aren't edited, so that was a huge mistake on my part. Anyway, Fountain Tarot. Let's move on to the dark decks, shall we? I traditionally go for the Dark Grimoire. Now this is a fascinating card. Obviously the Dark Grimoire Tarot is very focused on Lovecraftian images and Lovecraftian lore, and you've got these guys looking down on what appears to be some sort of ancient ceremony. Now whether or not they're observing, I think they're observing. I get a very Indiana Jones vibe from this card. So whether they're observing something manifesting, I don't know, or whether they're a part of it. No, they're definitely observing it, aren't they? But it's an interesting image because something is clearly manifesting and they are not necessarily party to it. But then again, this is the Dark Grimoire and it is dark. And what can I say? Something's clearly becoming corporeal though. Deviant Moon is... I don't know what it is about the Suit of Wands and the Deviant Moon, but they are very positive images. Now, this woman here, this woman is clearly pregnant, I believe. It's almost as if she's joined at these wand images, these plants that she's sewn down by some sort of umbilical cord. I figure that she is feeding them, and she looks kind of anxious, as do most people in the Deviant Moon. She's anxious that these are going to grow, but I think the moon up here, bathing it with its light, I think she doesn't have to be anxious for too much longer, to be perfectly honest. In the book, it does also suggest that you should be reflecting on your efforts, which is always a good idea, really, isn't it? Reflecting on your efforts. Okay. Santa Muerte. Now, this is an awesome image. Now, I don't know if I can focus this quite well, but this skeleton of a bird, and in my head it's a vulture, is holding a book that says virtue. So Mr. Lestrani here is alluding to the Tot association of virtue as opposed to Lord of Established Strength, which I really appreciate. Now, again, you've got these plants, these wand figures growing out of these skulls. It's a cracking card. I love it. Do need to get into this more. Now, as you probably know, the Santa Muerte in the book, it does kind of play around with the established interpretations of the cards, but it comes with a little bit of advice from the dead. And the advice from the dead for the Three of Wands goes as follows: in the moment you do not require the help of anyone, proceed with energy towards your new creation, which is hugely positive. Hugely positive. I don't know if you've watched the Two of Wands video, but it was a slightly different bent on the interpretation of the Two of Wands. But we're not talking about the Two of Wands, we're talking about the manifestation of the three. But yeah, just check that card out. Again, shiny, shiny. I love it. Here we've got the Quantum Tarot. Now, the Quantum Tarot is suggesting a galaxy cluster. Now, again, it's not going to focus too well. Oh no, this is not doing too bad. If I can shine the light on the guy, look at that. That's the embossed bit. But it shows a galaxy cluster. As you will probably know, stars often go into clusters, but so do galaxies. And we're talking a huge scale here. We're talking, you can't really comprehend how big a galaxy cluster can be. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you're that smart. But we're talking billions of light years. This is, I mean, it's a great way of making you feel small. But the point of the card here is to think big. You've got to let go of your limitations and think as big as possible. And it's a great card to meditate on, just thinking about the huge scales of the cosmos. I adore this card. I think it's brilliant, and I think it sums up the Three of Wands. Well, it takes the idea of the Three of Wands of having big ideas and manifesting your will, and times it by several billion. Big fan, big fan. Hermit approval. Here's the Archeon. The curveball deck, and again the image here the image here doesn't really, I'm not sure, I just don't know. Again, you got a winged horse. The winged horse does pop up a few times in the Archeon deck, a Terrapus, and I believe the book says something along the lines of, I haven't written it down, but it alludes to the Greek keeper of horses. So this is probably Pegasus, and Pegasus is, you know, the most famous winged horse. For example, it doesn't have a Valkyrie on its back, but there you go. However, when you actually read the Archeon book, it does seem to suggest that the vibe to the Three of Wands is the same as the traditional one. It's just the image that's a bit bizarre. It's a blue winged horse. No, I don't know either. But hey, well, I suppose one of the things it does suggest in the book is great purpose. So Pegasus indeed had great purpose from its birth, from the head of the Gorgon to that failed warrior, to Perseus. So yeah, it's kind of stretching the associations. But like I say, the little white book with the Archeon does the vibes marry. Okay, finally, and here we go with the Tower of Sexual Magic. Again, this is a card I can show you. I don't want to show any of the really risque cards in, like the Four of Wands, for example, is not going to make an appearance. And the Tower of Sexual Magic, the title for this card is The Magic of the Ribbon Tied Round Your Leg. And indeed, you do have ribbons tied round legs. And it alludes to understanding your craving for nostalgia, which again doesn't really vibe with the Three of Wands as we know it. But I do like showing these cards off because they're amusing and awesome. So yeah, that's it. That's the Three of Wands. I hope it's a great card to come up in readings, actually, because you know that you're getting somewhere. You're getting somewhere with something. You're on the verge of something big. It's always a fun card to get. So yeah, thanks again, as always, for watching. Please leave a comment. What does the Three of Wands mean to you? Have you ever had it in a reading and your dreams have come true in some way? I'd love for you to start discussion. That'd be awesome. Okay, thanks very much. Bye bye.